Welcome to In the Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin. I'm really, really happy to be in this place. It's called Happier Cafe. Yes, you heard me right. And I've got the founder of Happier Cafe, and among other things too. Here is Yee-Ming Tan, and she'll rather be known as Ming. Yes, and she has an undergraduate degree in linguistics from Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're also one of the first Asians to study Master of Applied Positive Psychology at the University of Pennsylvania in the States. And you wear so many hats. I'm not going to go on and on. We're just going to start talking so that you'll just one by one tell us what exactly you do, because you do so many things, and for Taiwan too. But anyway, yes, Ming, you're originally from Malaysia, right?
Yes, I'm from Malaysia, from a very small town called Kota Baru. Most people have heard of Kota Kinabalu on the east side of Malaysia, but I come from the west side near Thailand.
Ah, okay. I've never been to Malaysia yet. I hope to make there someday. But actually, you've only, really say that you've lived in in Taiwan for the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. But before that, you've been, visiting Taiwan on and off and everything. So for a long, long time, right? Mm-hmm. But anyway, before we go on talking about you, because I just can't wait to find out more about your story and your background and everything. What's that one story that has made an impact on you? In fact, you were just telling me it just happened this morning, right?
Yes, I'm really lucky because as an executive coach, I work with a lot of executives, and they hire me because they want to work towards a goal, or they want to break through from their current situation. And this morning, I got an email from this executive that I coach, and she just emailed me and said, Ming, I finally did it. I talked to my boss about my goal. Okay, and her goal is really that she has been a successor, and she is now ready to assume the top spot.
Oh, wow.
But she's been struggling and say, I know I've been working on this for a year now. I think I'm ready, but I don't know if my boss is still ready to give me that position. Okay. And to ask for something is hard, because
it is hard.
What if I'm rejected, right? And so we worked on it and get herself ready over the last 12 months. But there is still that one bit to say, hey, I'm ready now. Do you think I am ready? So she did it.
She did it?
She talked to her boss.
And I guess the outcome is
I think
good.
The outcome is really good. So I'm so excited. I can't wait to go back and ask her to celebrate that success together, And that's what it is about when people break through. First of all, do they have the desire to really take actions and put yourself out there? Mm-hmm. And so as a coach, that's what I do. I accompany them and help them clarify what it is that they're looking for, that they want to work towards, and then to figure out how willing are they to really put in the effort, and what are the strategies to get there.
Wow, that is great.
So I'm so lucky that in my work, I get this kind of wonderful stories every day.
That is great. So in your job, you're actually helping yourself to become a happier person too, right? That's for sure. Besides helping the person, be a happy person herself or himself.
Yeah.
Wow, that is great. There are some people who are doers, but then there are probably the bigger percentage of people are thinkers. But you are helping a thinker become a doer. Can I say that?
That's interesting. I've never thought of it that way. Yes, right. It's true. I'm helping people to go from thinking to doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is right. I believe I'm a thinker more than a doer because I'm timid. Yeah, I think that's what I am.
But most of us
think we are timid when actually we're not.
Well, there are times, because before you take action, there is that thinking time. Otherwise, it's not a conscious action. It's just how long is it?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I am a long thinker, okay? I'm a long thinker. Yeah, because I don't think I'm that daring. But before we get to that, because I know it all touches on what you're doing here in Taiwan, you know, and the many hats that you wear. We're going to start with your life because I'm so curious because of what you're doing now makes me wonder what kind of background you have and what kind of family you grew up in. Yeah. Are you from a big family, like many brothers and sisters?
I come from a family of 4 daughters.
And
so my poor dad, he is in a family of 5 women.
Okay. And where do you line up?
I'm the third in the family.
Okay.
So the third is, they say it's always the more level-headed because you're not the eldest, you're not the youngest. What inspired my life was really when I was around 12. I live in a very small town. Kota Bharu is a bit like Taitung in Taiwan, you know. It's that most remote part of
Taiwan.
the island. And my family, we had an exchange student from the States under this program called AFS.
Which stands for?
It stands for American Field Service. It started during the First World War, when all these ambulance people, they went abroad. And so this program became AFS.
Okay.
And it's student exchange program. So we had a girl from Pittsburgh, I believe. And so she came to live with us for a year. That really opened my eyes about cross-culture, you know, differences. And so I wanted to go abroad. I wanted to see the world from this small town girl. And so when I was 16 or 17, I applied and I got this AFS scholarship to go abroad.
Oh, so it was your turn to go on this AFS program and go to the States?
No.
Oh.
I got sent to this tiny town in middle of nowhere in Australia.
Wait a minute. I mean, couldn't you have asked to be sent to a bigger town, a bigger city or something like that?
Well,
you didn't have that choice or something?
What did I know? I thought all English-speaking places are like New York that I saw on TV.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
And so I thought, going to Australia, great. And I ended up in a town with a pub and a post office and a general store.
No movie theater?
This is in a little town called Finch Hatton in Queensland.
Obviously, I've never heard of it.
Yes, and the economy, the main economic activity was sugarcane. So there was a sugar mill. And so then it had a post office, a pub, and a general store.
And that's it? I would be bored to death.
Well, that was when I started to learn how to entertain yourself, right? But that was really the most amazing experience for me.
Really?
Yes. Like what I expected from TV, you know, New York and all that. No, it wasn't. It was a sugarcane area. People were farmers, and I lived with the school mistress. So my mom, host family, my mom was a teacher in our school.
Oh.
I love that experience. It really changed my life.
How?
You imagine this barely 5 foot tall Chinese girl from Malaysia.
Yes.
I went into this family and my mom was the shortest at 5'11".
Okay.
And my host brother is 6'4", blonde and 6'4". So that really challenged my ideas about, you know, from your own culture, you were brought up to say what's right, what's wrong, and all these things. And all my values were challenged.
Okay.
You know, the way you should behave with your parent, but there, I saw a different model. It didn't mean that they were less respectful of their parents, but then it was just a different interaction.
But then were you not disappointed to find a place so small, smaller than New York that you expected? And I mean, were you unhappy, in the first 1 or 2 months, and then you just couldn't wait to get home? You weren't feeling those?
Of course, but that's part of being in a new place.
Okay.
You're
very positive as a person to begin with. That's why you're doing this positive thinking.
No, I wouldn't say I was
wouldn't
positive.
Say was that? No?
But I think it was life experience. So I was there, I had to, English was okay, that wasn't the biggest issue, even though I didn't understand Australian humor.
Accent. Oh, humor.
Okay. But that was part of living in a foreign culture. But that really defined my personality afterwards. It's all that about embracing diversity, embracing different cultures.
Do you think your mom and dad has to do with the way you are, personality-wise? I mean, it seems to me, I'm guessing, that your parents are very outgoing. They're very... Would you say they're very liberal kind of parents?
No. I come from a very traditional
Chinese
family.
Feel that.
And my parents are both school teachers.
Uh-huh.
And I think that brings to what we talk about, like our earlier upbringing, our education. But then after that, what do you do with your own life? And so I had a great childhood, middle class. Parents are teachers, so we were never poor, but we never had anything more. So but I came from a very normal family.
Uh-huh.
And I think from when I went on this scholarship, that was something that I wanted to do. So I worked on it, I applied for it and all that. And after that, my life is all about embracing differences, or I'm interested in different culture. And so
from that experience, it just exposed you to it. Yeah. Wow, that is great. So are your sisters like that? They also kind of went abroad and also applied for different programs, and just as ambitious as you were about, getting out of your comfort zone, your home country?
Well, my other sister lives in the States, and also then she moved to Europe. So for ambitious, some people, they know right from they're very young what they wanted to be. I never. I was not like that.
Oh.
I was just a typical, I did well at school, and I got into law school. I thought, wow, being a lawyer, professional. But of course, after the first year, I decided that
it's not for you.
For me.
Really?
Yeah.
But you did go through it 1 year?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
I went 1 year, and then I realized that maybe if I persevered with it, maybe I would still be okay, But at that time, I came across linguistics. I never heard of what linguistics, and that was the first time that I did something because I was interested in the topic. I didn't know what I could be when up with a linguistics degree, but I was genuinely curious about the topic. So I switched, and I did my linguistic studies.
Okay. I'm always really confused about what exactly is linguistics, I mean, I love languages, but then that's a little different from linguistics, right? So
linguistics is the science of language, the study of language. So yes, most linguists could speak a few languages because it's part of their study.
Sure.
But linguists is more interested in the structure, the grammar, how that language is structured.
Reflects the culture, doesn't it?
Yes. And so like the phonetics, the sounds of that language, the syntax, the grammar of that language. And then you go into maybe social linguistics or gender linguistics, and you can study the linguistics of English or the linguistics of Chinese. So I don't know what I could do with it, but it's a fascinating topic.
Yeah, I know. It fascinates me too, really. I mean, wow, now we're getting to a subject about languages because, I do speak a couple of different languages, and it fascinates me to know that a certain language, they have this vocabulary, whereas the other language, it doesn't, or like you were saying, gender linguistics and all that kind of stuff, and some languages are more complicated than others, and it just amazes me, how languages develop over all these thousands and hundreds and thousands of years. So,
in fact, I never knew what I could do with this study, right? But now I realize that in my current work, I hear what people say. And the kind of words they use actually give me a picture of how their psychological well-being. Like
really?
If you look at some people, they don't have, in their phrasing, there aren't many emotion words, or there's more of the thinking words or emotion words.
You mean a person that you've interacted with? That person
anyone.
doesn't use...
So when I coach, and so also if I look at someone and the way they talk about the situation, even with emotion words, are they more positive emotion words?
Wow.
Or negative emotion words? Or in absence of emotions?
Right, indifferent?
Yeah. Absence of emotions.
Okay. No
so
emotions.
they're very rational. So I never, the dots connected years later, from my linguistics studies, and now linked to the psychology study.
Well, this is so interesting. Well, we're in a world that's really rich with all kinds of different, knowledge and learning and experience and everything. Yes. Well, I can go on and on with you about that, but we're going to, take a break here before we go in and talk about what exactly you're doing here in Taiwan. You're wearing a lot of different hats, as I said in the beginning, so we're going to get to that. All right, so let's take a break here. Welcome back to In the Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin. Here with me in this cafe called Happier Cafe is Ming, who is actually Yee-Ming Tan, but she'd rather be known by Ming. She has an undergraduate degree in linguistics from Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand. We talked about quite extensively about linguistics just now. And then she's also one of the first Asians to study Master of Applied Positive Psychology from the University of Pennsylvania. And right here, she runs Happier Cafe. And you also have a restaurant called Non-Zero Restaurant, which maybe we'll touch on a little bit later. You also authored a book called Start Your Own Ripple Effect, because you're also a co-founder of Ripple Maker Foundation, which is to help, in one line, to help entrepreneurs realize their dream. Can I say that? Yeah. And a whole lot of other hats that you wear. And you do a lot of coaching and consultancy practice called Third Thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. Which one should we start off talking first?
Yes.
You've been in Taiwan for 5 years now. I mean, actually settling down here. So why don't we start from the very first thing you started? Which one of this that you started was the very first entrepreneurship?
I see of my life as an experiment. Okay.
That's a good word.
It's really an experiment in work and life integration. Okay. I think people like stories, so I'll start my story with why I study positive psychology, which is the science of happiness. I was living in Hong Kong at that time. I lived in Hong Kong for 20 years. So when I decided to study positive psychology at UPenn, my friends were saying, Ming, why are you spending so much money to learn about happiness? Give me the money, I'll show you how to be happy. But I realized that when I did that, I realized that, my life, I wasn't unhappy with my life. Okay?
Yeah, you don't look it.
No, at that time, because I was in the corporate world and I quit my high-paying corporate job.
So you did some kind of work that
yes.
didn't have to do with how to be happy.
I had a previous, another previous life
didn't know,
that
yeah.
nobody knew.
Right.
Okay, but I had a wonderful time. I was in a big corporate role, and you know all the perks working with multinational company, being sent from country to country as expat and all. I lived that life, and I got a lot out of that, and so I'm very grateful for that period of my life. But then one day I started to feel like there must be more in my life. Yeah. And so I discovered positive psychology. I decided to explore. And from that experience, I realized that I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't happy either. You know, I had a lot to be grateful for in my life, and it was okay. But what is a flourishing life? How do you flourish in life? And that was something that, from positive psychology, that's what I discovered.
You decide, because you realized that's how you decided on the major, positive psychology, or the other way around?
It was a life where I decided to quit my corporate life because I wanted to figure out what's next for me in my life. And I studied positive psychology.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
And from positive psychology, I was able to apply it in my own life first. And so one of the biggest discovery was a lot of people would ask me, you know, I'm okay. I'm not unhappy.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
They get defensive, right?
Yeah, so they say, we don't need Happier Cafe. We don't need any positive or happiness coaching. I'm not unhappy. But we are not talking about removing your unhappiness. We are talking about how do you flourish in your life. Yeah.
That sounds to me how to become successful in your life. Is it the same thing?
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, but most people would equate like success in life. Yes, I think definition of success is up to you to define.
That's true.
So from positive psychology, we offer a framework of what it means to live a happier and fulfilling, flourishing life.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
I'll share a story with you.
Yes.
One of the executives I coached is a successful banker. So as usual with my work, sometimes the organization of their boss would hire us to say, hey, please coach my this person.
Employees.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so apparently this person is somebody who works 24 hours a day and he loved his job. And he's a high-flying, doing very well. It's just his boss was worried that it's not sustainable.
Right.
Okay, and thought he needs to figure out how to work in a more sustainable way.
Okay.
So I worked with this executive, and he is some high-flying, very smart person. So we did a bit, and then he said, I figured it out. Okay, fine, I can delegate, I can do all that. And he asked me, he said, what do I do with my spare time?
Does he even have any spare time?
Well, now that he delegated, he switched off his phone,
right.
From 8 o'clock on Friday night, BlackBerry at that time, right?
Yes.
Switch off his BlackBerry and turn it on Monday morning. But what does he do?
Oh, he didn't know what to do with himself. So,
that's why my study in positive psychology really come in, because I actually worried. I didn't know how to help him. We can all do it based on our own life experience. And of course, if you have If you have a religion, you might have your what means to be happy. And but I didn't feel comfortable, just my own practice. So positive psychology gave me a good framework to work with him.
So what did you suggest to him? Because he was starting to worry about what to do in his spare time.
And using the positive psychology framework, it was really about, in terms of, he wanted to start with relationships.
Okay.
So
he was not married.
Not married, and so it was really about which relationships really matter to him, and how are they relating to each other right now. So he worked on working with his family. He actually ended a relationship with his girlfriend. That wasn't really fulfilling for both, but sometimes he just didn't want to deal with it. Yeah. So he worked on the relationship, and then he worked on what is meaningful for him. And he decided to do a bit more charity work. And so he slowly, one by one, the different domain in his life, he worked on it.
He, without realizing, has become a happier person, right?
Yeah. So when we talk about happiness, it's really about different levels. In fact, another person just asked me yesterday and said, you talk about positive psychology. Does it mean that we have to be happy all the time? That was actually a very good question.
Yes.
Because positive psychology is not about denying the other part of life where we get frustrated, we have failures, we feel depressed sometimes, and we feel down, we feel sad, angry. That's a full range of emotions. It's positive psychology embrace the full range of emotion. Yeah. But most people know when they're angry. Most people know what makes them sad or angry. But do you know what makes you feel energized? Do you know what makes you feel joyful? Do you know what makes you feel lovely?
Most people don't know what makes them energized or joyful.
Okay, what do you do to make you feel positive and energized?
Eat.
Okay, eat is one. Yeah.
Energized. Oh, I guess dancing, which I haven't done for years.
See, yeah.
That's funny. I haven't done for years, but that's the thing that popped into my head.
See, so happiness exists in action, and so most people would feel like, oh, I shouldn't be angry, right? And so we focus so much of our attention on, let's remove that negative thing. But how do you add more positive things? So for example, like you say, dancing energizes you. But the next sentence was, I haven't done it for years. So why don't you add, say, there are some songs or music that just, you listen to it and you just feel like moving.
Right.
Why don't you schedule a 3-minute, most songs are like 3 minutes to 4 minutes. Why don't you schedule that in your life?
So, Ming, am I being coached right now?
No, I just share them.
Is this what coaching is about?
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. Yeah. You were telling me earlier, Ming, that actually coaching is not therapy. It's very different.
Yes.
So I was just thinking, what made you decide to set up Happy Cafe the way it is?
Yeah.
Like, explain these rolls of paper.
Yeah. When we worked with Johnny Chu, a very good friend who is an amazing architect, and he decided to help me with the space here. So we did an exercise. All the people in this meeting room, what makes you happy? Okay. And so some people would say, oh, in the MRT, I put on my headset, I shut out everybody, I listen to the music that I like. Some people would say, oh, a place full of plants. Some would say, hey, it's about eating together with my friends or family. You know, so we thought it's interesting. Quite a few people's answer were about shutting out outside noise or people and just like giving myself that time. I think that reflects our the busyness in our life or
Oh, yeah.
you know, people intruding on your space or your time, the lack of personal time, maybe. But then in positive psychology, a lot of the happier skills or happiness intervention is about being with people.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's about gratitude. It's about other people matter. And so we decided to use this space in a way where we allow you the nooks and corners if you just feel like being on your own. But also there are areas where we can connect, and like with these chairs, you know,
Yep.
a lot of people would not sit over there. They want to sit here, and they would play around with this chair. It brings out that childlike part of us.
yeah.
So that's,
Play around with this later.
yeah, the way the space is designed.
It is perfect because it's just one big squarish room, just so much space, and yet you're trying to think about what you can fill in here, and you filled a lot. And there are a lot of different choices too in this room. And in fact, that one over there is actually the production of this brainstorming session you had, right? Can you say that?
Yes, that's a collection of so many people's ideas about what happiness is to them. And so Ray, the scriber, really meticulously recorded all these people's path to happiness, let's say, and she used a graphical way to present it.
Oh, that is so neat. So if someone wants to come and use this space, Happier Cafe, of course you just named all the different nooks and whether they want to be alone or they want to be in a group, they're all different spaces and choices. But how, they can just come in anytime?
Yes.
Anybody can just come in?
We are open Monday to Friday, 10 to 6. We welcome people to come in and have a coffee.
Yeah.
Make yourself at home.
Okay.
Bring your friends. Or you can sign up on our regular happiness coaching program.
Ah, okay. And you said that actually you also have some classes here sometimes, right?
Yes.
What are those classes? Can be anything?
2 weekends ago, we had this play through improv dancing.
Hey, really?
Yes.
Oh.
It is really amazing. The 3 dancers, they have psychology and dancing experience.
Really?
Yes.
Was it your idea?
Huh?
Was it your idea?
I know them, so we invited them because I know that through improvisation dancing, it is amazing. It brings out that forgotten interaction play.
Yeah.
As we grow, we forget that curiosity, playfulness is very important in happiness.
Sure. So what have you discovered for the people that have come in to the space? I mean, what were they usually doing? Were they usually by themselves or in groups? What were they doing?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
It's interesting. The people who come, first of all, we're in this place where it's not easy to find.
I know.
Right? But the people who come, they take actions. Okay? They explore. They're willing to go through this uncertainty of, can I enter into this compound? It's by taking action, the curiosity, their life is changed forever.
Oh, really?
But
Just
you
in
need
this
to
space?
take actions.
Okay.
It's about they feel like, oh, I've discovered something new. It's that discovery is energizing in your life. And the other thing that people who come here, they tend to say, is there a marker pen? Can I draw on this?
So-
Can I leave a few words? It brings out that childlike part of them.
Oh, that is cool. So people have been leaving their marks here.
As you can see.
Right. And then there are scrolls and scrolls of this paper. So once it's filled, then you just grow it more, and then there's
We want to collect. It's a collective memory of this place.
collective memory. Yeah, that is so neat. Well, this is really great. All right. What's this non-zero restaurant? Can you briefly, you know, we
Non-zero.
can't really go in depth about
It's
what that
about
restaurant
comfort
is.
food from all around the world. It's about.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard so much about it, but I've never visited.
You
I
must.
should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that is really, really neat. And ripple effect. This book, Start Your Own Ripple Effect. It was a combination of positive psychology and coaching and finding happiness. Is this what the book was about?
It's about bringing out the best in yourself.
Okay.
You know, if you want, we tend to underestimate our own power to influence other people. And so, how do you bring out the best in yourself, and then you can make a difference in the world? And so, start with yourself. And being happy and being positive is important. For example, like I have a cold today. So how do I actually bring out the best in me so that when I talk to you,
Yeah.
I'll bring out the best in you. Otherwise, it's going to be a very difficult interview for you.
You were being out of yourself to give to me, to give to this interview.
Then the energy is different.
That is great. Well, before we say goodbye, I want to, you know, just find out what your impression of Taiwan is by asking you, popping two questions. Well, maybe just one. What's the first thing you think of when I say, and then make sure it's related to Taiwan, okay? What's the
Okay.
first thing you think of when I say the color green?
Taitung.
Oh, Taitung, Eastern Taiwan. Why is that?
I fell in love with Taiwan through Taitung.
Yeah?
So I have a little base there. That's where I go for my energy. I go there every month.
Oh, really? Wow, you need to recharge yourself, right? After some time. So I'm assuming that you're looking out to green everywhere? Is that why it's reminding you of green?
Well, there's a big mountain behind my place.
Your
So
place.
I look out to the Pacific Ocean, so it's that blue, and then this green
Yes.
of the mountain.
Yeah, when you look out, you don't look at cars. You don't see traffic jams, right? You don't see pollution. You see green. Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, I have visited Taiwan. I mean, Taitung. That is really wonderful. Yes. Oh, I wish I could talk to you more, Ming. You know, you're a joy to talk to. Really, there's so
Same
much that
here.
you can
Thank
inspire in
you.
people. Thank you. And
Thank
thanks
you,
so much
Shirley.
for what you're helping Taiwanese people with what you're doing, the coaching and all that, and the cafe, the Happier Cafe. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Shirley.
All right, thank you. Thank you for watching In the Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin.